The Mediterranean Basin is a biogeographic region spreading around the Mediterranean Sea, with a climate of mild to cool rainy winters and hot, dry summers. It is home to characteristic Mediterranean forests, woodlands, and scrub vegetation. The shift from a relatively humid subtropical climate supporting laurel forests to a Mediterranean climate occurred about 3.2 to 2.8 million years ago, as summer rainfall decreased. The subtropical laurel forests retreated, although they persisted on the Mediterranean islands, and the present Mediterranean vegetation evolved, becoming dominated by coniferous trees and sclerophyllous trees and shrubs. Much of the woody vegetation in Mediterranean climate regions is sclerophyll, which means hard-leaved in Greek. This vegetation has small, hard, dark, and waxy leaves designed to prevent moisture loss in the characteristic dry summers. In the Mediterranean climate, plants have evolved under conditions of low soil, water, and nutrient availabilities, and have acquired a series of adaptive, conservative traits like sclerophyll, slow growth rate, or high presence of sprouting species. The development of deep and extensive root systems is among the most characteristic traits of plants in Mediterranean ecosystems, with root plasticity, thick cuticle, and high leaf mass area, large resistance to xylem cavitation or high stomata control. These traits in turn yield strong feedback on soil fertility, structure, and physical protection. As a result, plant soil systems are complex systems, where these adaptive traits allow plants to maximize the use of resources that are scarce. Coexisting species avoid competition for soil resources by differential exploitation in space of the different soil layers and time, within a day or over the year. Mediterranean species differ in their capacity to regenerate. Some species are able to regenerate by sprouting, and others are obligated seeders. These two strategies are present in Mediterranean communities and frequently coexist in competitive equilibrium. The high cost of biomass production, together with high levels of natural disturbances like severe drought periods, frequent fires, and grazing, are proposed as general explanations for the high number of species with resprouting capacity that adds complexity and diversity to Mediterranean plant communities. Vegetation types range from tall forests to woodlands, savannas, shrublands, and grasslands. Mosaic landscapes are common. In them, we find different vegetation types in intermixed patches, creating complex patterns determined by variations in soil topography, exposure to wind and sand, and fire history, overlaid by human influences over millennia. Major plant communities in this biome include pine and oak forests and woodlands. Forests are often found in riparian areas where they receive more summer water. Shrublands are dense thickets of evergreen sclerophyll shrubs and small trees. They are most common near the seacoast and are often adapted to wind and salinity in the air from the ocean. Scrubby, dense vegetation composed of broadleaf evergreens less than 2.5 meters tall are called chaparral in southern Portugal, matorral in Spain, Carricomachis in France, Macchia or Garriga in Italy, Frican in Greece, Fynbos and Strandveld in South Africa. In some places, shrublands are the mature vegetation type, and in other places are the result of degradation of former forest and woodlands by logging, overgrazing, or disturbance by wildfires. Most forests and shrublands have been altered by thousands of years of human disturbance, namely fire, felling, and grazing, following the distinct Mediterranean seasonal pattern. Many native plants and animals have become extinct or endangered. Mediterranean ecoregions are highly distinctive, collectively harboring 10% of the Earth's plant species, more than 25,000 known vascular plant species, while they represent only 1.6% of Earth's emerging lands. More than half of the plant species are endemic. Hotspots of biodiversity contain up to 30% endemic species. Patterns of very limited or disjunct geographical distribution pose conservation threats to many of these species. Under human stewardship, these semi-natural cultural landscapes have retained what is defined as a diffuse biodiversity, linked to the human seasonal pattern of disturbance. It is well known that the European shrublands have been shaped by anthropogenic fire, historically associated with transhumans, herding of sheep and goats. Mediterranean ecoregions are some of the most endangered and vulnerable on the planet. While historically they have been exposed to tremendous degradation, soil erosion, and habitat loss through logging, burning, overgrazing, and conversion to agriculture, Nowadays, challenges relate to urbanization development, agricultural intensification in coastal plain areas, and agricultural abandonment in mountain areas. And interestingly, both wildfires and fire suppression effects. The introduction of exotic and invasive species affect the whole area. Fire, both natural and human caused, has played a large role in shaping the ecology of Mediterranean ecoregions. The hot, dry summers make much of the region prone to fires, and lightning-caused fires occur with some frequency. Many of the plants show traits like higher sprouting capacity, cone serotonin, seed physical dormancy, post-fire flowering, or high flammability, which has led to label them as pyrophytes, or fire-loving species. These traits are commonly accepted as fire adaptations of Mediterranean climate plants, but they may have more complex origins and other environmental factors than frequent fire may have promoted their evolution. While Mediterranean plants exhibit traits that enhance their fitness in fire-prone environments, they are not adapted to current fire regimes, characterized by frequent human-caused fires in abandoned landscapes where fuels have been allowed to build up. Under increased pressure of wildfires and expected worsening conditions due to climate change, Mediterranean plant communities can only be expected to follow the path of degradation and disappearance. As a representative example of these Mediterranean conditions, we are going to visit one Mediterranean area in Spain, the Alto Mijares area.